What's up, everybody? This is my first YouTube video. I'm going to show you how I make my knife making process. I would say I'm still novice or kind of a little bit above beginner to knife making, but I've had some people ask me how I make my knives, so I figured I would give back to those who are just starting out. So while I'm waiting for it to get up to forge welding temperature, uh, I put some borax on it, use that as flux, uh, something that other people have used. I've only been blacksmithing for or making knives for about 2 years now, and a lot of people use borax to keep stuff out of the layers, in between the layers, so that you have a nice forge weld when you're putting your stacks together for Damascus. Now, when you're doing a forge weld, you gotta keep an eye on the color of the steel inside the forge. In order to get the right temperature for a good forge weld, the color is gonna look kind of like the color of butter, like a stick of butter. And when it gets to about that color is time to take it out and start. What I do is I start off with a hammer and kind of get the pieces a little bit closer together to close up any of those gaps. And then after I do a couple hits with the hammer, I'll throw it back in the forge and then start using the forge press. I suggest that you probably might want to get yourself a leather apron whenever you're doing some forge welding, because the borax or the flux, whenever you're doing a forge weld and start hammering, the borax tends to fly off, and it's super hot hitting your skin, and it'll burn your skin and burn your clothes. So I like to wear one of these. All right, so now I'm gonna do some hammering just to get the layers a little bit closer together. Then go ahead and clean some of that forge scale off. I like to use a wire brush attachment on my drill. Makes it a lot easier, faster. Sprinkle some more borax on it. And then back in the forge. Alright, so starting off from yesterday, I got the billet in the forge right now. Gonna stretch it out some more and get the press started. And to speed the process up a little bit, I'm going to switch in between my round dies. It's looking beautiful. Just making sure it's flush with the anvil. That's pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to leave it in the forge until it cools off. And then we'll cut and restack and weld it together and stretch it back out. So I got the billet out of the forge, cut the rebar off. Looks pretty good. Just gonna clean up the surfaces and cut it and restack it to stretch out again to triple the layer count. So I got them all cleaned up and ready to get stacked. I'm gonna clean the surfaces with some acetone just to get any kind of oils or anything like that, so that I have the best chance for this stack to forge weld. And then I'll weld it to a little handle so it's easier to get into the forge and onto the press.
I'm just going to clamp them together.
So I got the stack together, welded. So I got the forge heating up right now. We're gonna throw it in and stretch it out on the press. So second time after the restack and drawing it back out, just kind of cleaning up the surface a little bit and get it ready for me to do some holes to get it ready for the raindrop Damascus. So I got the billet cleaned up. There's a little bit of forge scale on there, but not too concerned about it because I'm not forge welding anything, and drilling the holes or the divots will take out some of the forge scale as well. So now that I got the holes drilled, I'm going to switch over to a bigger bit, just because I think the pattern will come out a lot better if it's randomized and different sizes. So I got it all ready, all the holes. It's like Swiss cheese right now. So fast forward a little bit, I got the billet drawn out that I had drilled holes in, got it to the length that I wanted, cut it to two pieces for the outside cladding of the knife, and then I cut two copper shims that will be going in there for the kumai, and then a 1084 core, which will be the cutting edge. So I'm going to weld all the way around of it and weld the seams closed because the copper has a lower melting point than the steel does. So it'll start to liquefy in the forge, and I don't want it seeping out of the sides. Also, a lot of people have questions whether the copper does anything to the integrity of the knife. And watching other videos and from my own personal experience of testing my own knives after making a couple copper knives is that the copper doesn't affect the integrity of the knife. It stays away from the cutting edge, and the cutting edge is the core, which is going to be the 1084 steel, high carbon steel, and the tensile strength of the copper is pretty high. So it's not necessarily forge welding the billet together, it's more of brazing. And every time you do sharpen the blade, the copper goes higher up on the bevel, staying away from the cutting edge. So let's get the seams welded so I can start drawing it out for the length of my blade. So I got it all welded up, all the seams. I'm not the best welder, but I get the job done. We'll take it over to the forge and draw it out to the length I need.